A 8 may feel between 7 and 8 something like a loss of control. They feel more controlled by failing. So we're going to look at all that. And I would tell you there are books on this. A good book is Zen in the Ways by Trevor Leggett. It's an old book, but you can find it. Trevor, T-R-E-V-O-R-L-E-G-G-E-T.
Legend.
Leggett. There's another book, the author's name is Hoover, H-O-O-V-E-R, called Zen Culture. Okay, last thing. This is kind of funny. When I first went to study Zen, I went to Zen Mountain Monastery. It was first called the Zen Arts Center. And Daido Roshi was teaching Zen arts. And you basically, in the beginning, had to be an artist to get in. You studied Zen and you studied your art. And there were some famous artists that showed up. And we were also affiliated with a well-known jazz school that was next door. After a while, Daido Roshi just hated it because he kept saying it's not Zen and arts, it's Zen arts, which means a kind of art that is done as a way with discipline. What we wound up attracting was all these flakes, and who decided that whatever they did was Zen. And this was not what Daido had in mind. He had come from a background where he really studied his art photography very seriously. And I went through that, and it was kind of interesting. I actually had a lot of trouble with it. Eventually, we switched it over to Zen Mountain Monastery, and we made it a monastery. But there was also arts practice. So, those of you who have an interest in something like that, this is a very good way to do it. And I can work with you on it if you show me what you're doing. And please do talk to me about what you're doing. But make this a part of your practice, that you take something that you perfect, whatever it is. It can be, as I said, what you already want to do. It doesn't have to be something new, but really work on it. And I'll tell you the final reason. Now, I was watching the internet this morning. This is not, it came up before this, but it's kind of reminded me. I was watching these two guys talk, or spiritual teachers, and it was really making me sick. I mean, every once in a while I watch something like this, and I say, that's it, I'm going back to school and study biology. It's something concrete, you know. And one of the reasons why was that I didn't feel watching these guys that other than being somewhat decent thinkers and speakers, that they'd be able to do anything well at all. And that really irks me. I really want you guys, when you train, and if you're learning about consciousness, if you're learning about yourself, it should manifest in what you do. That's the excellence part. It's not just like excellence is a separate appendage. Practice and putting it into effect is excellence. And that's what Lost Coin is about. So I really would hate to just have this kind of philosophical, guru-ish thing going on. It's not my temperament. And frankly, you know, let me tell you a couple of things about that, just to be very honest, why. I honestly think that people that do that, do it because, for a couple of reasons. When it's just so kind of vague, and I think they like, either they have a real desire to be like a performer of some kind, you know, where a lot of people are watching them clapping, or they have a desire for a tremendous amount of love that they're not getting in some other way. And honestly, I'm a human being, and I don't mind it if people clap a little when I do something, and I really don't mind it if people love me, and I hope you do, but it's not something I'm so interested in. It's not like, it's not a driving force in my life. I couldn't do this for that. I'm just not built that way. What I can do is what I'm interested in, which is I'm very interested in spirituality and the deep meaning of life, and I'm interested in excellence and performance. So I can do that with you. And the rest is kind of just I personally am just not interested in it. And I often feel that people who do that just are people who just can't get enough love. You know, I used to be a performing musician. I hated it. I wound up quitting and being a studio musician because I couldn't stand to have people screaming at me and yelling for more. I just hated it. It made me very nervous. So I say that because it's about me, and what I do feel is, and what I say to you, Lynn, is I really like people who can do things well. And I love a person who will sacrifice everything to find out what this is all about. Those two things I really love. And so I can embody that for you because it's me. I don't have to make believe. This is me. And I did that. And I've done it all my life, so I feel comfortable with it all. And I also think that the kind of adoration that people look for sometimes is a way of not having a real relationship. I hope that I have a real affectionate and loving relationship with each one of you. But it doesn't have to be like I'm a rock star. I'm not looking for that. I'm rather looking for a real connection with you, so that I can know you and help and, you know, be intimate with you in being a teacher. But I find the other thing is actually distancing. That's more for the need of the person doing it than for what the subject matter is about. Unfortunately, the world of spirituality has a long history of that. Anyway, so please take that to heart, because do it for yourself and do it for me. I'd really like to turn out through the years as I work with you, people who somebody else, not just me also, would look at you and say, you know, that person can really do things well. They really have accomplished something. They really have a really even character. They really can have a relationship. They really can be loving. They really can play terrific banjo. They really are a great doctor. They really fight terrifically. They understand, you know, all these things. I would much rather do all that. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So.